What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we are going to be taking a look at one of my favorite pistols. We're going to be talking about the Beretta M9A4. Now, the Beretta M9A4 is an upgrade to the original M9A3, which is an upgrade to the original 92 series, which has been upgraded and upgraded over the years since it was released in the mid-80s. If you're unfamiliar with the Beretta M9/92 series, it served in the U.S. military for multiple plus decades and has a pretty glowing reputation around the world. A well-maintained, well-springed M9 is one of the most reliable pistols on the earth, so the newest M9 to come out really trips my trigger. I've shot these guns for a long time. I like them. They have good looks. This one in particular, though, I believe is the best version so far, and I'll tell you why. First, though, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. We went out and purchased this gun with the Patreon dollar, so thank you guys very much. My channel is supported by Patreon. That way I don't have any conflict of interest, anything like that. So I appreciate you guys allowing me the freedom to say whatever the hell I want. If you want to help with Patreon, all you gotta do is go to the link in the description and sign up. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It is the YSS. I'd really appreciate it if you go down and click that link and donate to those kids. And somewhere down there will probably be a link for the light or something too. You just have to go down in the description or a pinned comment and look around. Now, the Beretta M9A4 was a new release for late 2020. Not a lot of people have their hands on it. Not a lot of people have shooting experience with it. I've had it for the past 6 months now, and we have been shooting it very frequently. I've taken it out 4 or 5 times, and we have a full 1,000 rounds through it. We actually even did a little bit more as well, testing some accessories, because this is going to be just like the M9A3. This is going to be one of my accessory testing platforms because I like it so much, and for a variety of reasons which I'll get into here in a second. Before we go, we'll give you some specs on the gun, though. It's got a full 5.1 inch barrel, and as you can see there, it does have a threaded barrel, so if you want to put some stuff on that, like an Omega 9K, which I did, it works very well. The Beretta system in itself suppresses very well because it's not a tilting barrel design, so it seems to have less issues with suppression with the stock recoil spring than a lot of other pistols that I've used, so I often use it for that purpose. It also is an aluminum frame gun. It's not a polymer frame gun. Even though it only weighs 33 ounces, it's still all metal. And the thing I like about that is it gives it rigidity. So sometimes when you mount weapon-mounted lights on the front of it, if the gun is not rigid enough, if it's a polymer frame gun, a lot of times that can cause malfunctions, whereas I've never seen that in the Beretta M9A4 or A3 or Beretta M9 models at all, which is one of the reasons why I use them a lot. When you're doing light testing, you have to do it at night, so I often use the old suppressor to help out with the noise. That way the neighbors don't have to hear me banging on steel all night long. Some people only go out and shoot when it's nice outside, but you can't really test gear that way now, can you? 20 degrees, raining, 30-mile-an-hour wind. Oh yeah. So that's kind of nice. This particular model has a few changes from the previous. We'll start with the Vertec grip because that was my favorite. It comes with 2 different style grips. Both of them are polymer inserts. So it's not grip panels like it used to be. It's actually a full insert with a back strap. The first version that you have, which is in the box, sorry, is just this, but it's flat. It's a 1911 style slimline grip for those guys out there or gals that have some smaller hands. And then they have this larger one here, which is more the Beretta M9 Beretta 92 style, which I actually prefer because it does come with a palm swell. Either one is an upgrade from the previous because the texture is a lot more aggressive. Not too aggressive where if you carried it you would notice, but aggressive enough to where it really does stick in your hand, which I like a lot. The beaver tail is upswept very nicely, and the color on the aluminum frame is actually a little bit different than the standard M9A3, and I do prefer it a little bit better. We got a little bit better checkering on the front strap here. We have an extended magazine release. One of the new features of the new gun is actually a short reset trigger, which I like a lot. So we'll go through here and you can see the trigger reset is much shorter than the previous M9s, and what that leads to is a higher rate of fire. Shorter distance between 2 points equals a faster amount of time, you know, depending on how fast you get there, obviously, but shorter distance is always going to be faster. So trigger fingers may vary, but a shorter trigger is going to be faster for everyone universally. As I said, the trigger undercut feels real good, and and the rail obviously works real well. We can take this light off here, and I can show you guys what the rail actually looks like, but it does look awful mean on the pick rail, and I like it when they have multiple slots, and that's why I wanted to show it, because I hate when they just put one slot. It works, yes, and a lot of competition guns do that because it adds weight out front, but I don't like it. It doesn't look as mean. I think with the multiple slots, it looks very cool, and again, I like that a lot. We have front functional serrations up here along with the Beretta cuts, so if you want to manipulate the slide, you can do it this way, you could 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 do it this way. Heck, you could even clamp your butt cheeks on it and squeeze it if you really want to. But it might get hot, so only do that before you've shot the gun. The cuts work really well, and I've seen people do that a lot over the years. The problem I have with that is, oop, now I don't have a finger, right? And I like my fingers because they help me out with very specific tasks. So I usually don't go that route. I like to go this route generally because that works very well in my competition world. I gas up the gun and roll over and run the slide in the same motion. Seems to be quicker to me than gassing up the gun, coming back here and doing the slingshot method. Also, with the Beretta M9 series, you're going to have this thing. This dirty thing right here. And Beretta M9 guys, they're used to it. They love it. They're good with it. But it is, in my opinion, one of the most inefficient safeties in the gun world. It's so funny that this gun came out with this because the previous iteration of the 92 competition actually has a frame-mounted 1911 safety. And I'll give you some pros and cons of each. The pro of this is none. The con of this is that when you run the slide every once in a while, if I can do it here, you will decock the gun and or put the gun on safety. This is actually a G model out of the factory, which means that even when you put the gun on safe, it pops right back off and you've just decocked the gun. The reason for that is because the last thing you want is in emergency to be running your slide and then put the gun on safety and now you have a dead trigger and you don't know why, which I have done that with Beretta M9 models, so I'm glad that this one changed that a little bit. A, by having the G model, the decocker, and B, by making it swept up further, so it actually is a lot harder to put it on safe. That being said, I still don't mess with the back of the gun on the Beretta series for that reason. It's actually kind of hard to mess with the front of the gun in the Beretta series as well, because the benefit of the top of the Beretta being open is that there's less reciprocating mass, which is nice. The downside of that is that when you do go over after a magazine or two, you might have a scar there where you didn't have before, just because that barrel gets hot as shit after like 3 or 4 mags, and the last thing you want to do is put the web of your hand on that. So, pros and cons to the slide situation. Add in that this one now has optic cuts, which I like a lot. It's optic ready from the factory. It's the first, or one of the first Berettas to ever be that. And you can tell, because there's no goddamn plates. And there still hasn't been any plates. About 5 to 6 months after purchasing this gun, I've still been unable to locate an optics mounting plate for Beretta's first optics ready pistol. So we're doing this video even though I waited several months. I've had the shooting done now for a while. I really did want to try the optic system, however we just didn't get to it, sadly. I hear that it's sturdy, but I wouldn't know because they don't exist. So they do also make dovetailed optics mounts for the previous iterations of the Beretta, which I have used. However, they do lose zero on occasion because it's not nearly as secure of a mounting system as the upfront system that they've created here. Pluses and minuses to both, obviously. Once you put an optic on this, the slide that is already pretty cluttered and with little overall terrain there to use to actually operate the slide, you're going to clutter it even more. So be aware of that. And now if you're one of those guys that use the optic to run the slide all the time, if you use a quality optic with a quality mount and a shitload of Loctite, you're probably going to be fine. However, I would recommend testing your zero every once in a while. The gun is not ambidextrous, although you can switch over the magazine release here, although the safety and the takedown lever are always going to be on the weak side here because, well, most people are right-handed, sadly. Sorry about you wrong-handed people, but we'll get to you someday. The hammer looks a little bit different on here, although functions very well. Serrations work very well. We have tritium night sights on the top there, which are pretty nice. I have used them with a suppressor. The suppressor covers up your sight picture. However, with the night sights, you can superimpose them on the target and still make hits even at night, which I can show you right now. Nothing much better than a silenced Beretta, regardless of what's going on. Be a lot easier to shoot this motherfucker if it came with an optics mount. They say you can't shoot a suppressor without suppressor height sights. Suppose we'll see about that. Click, and I'm out. We have a new weak-sided safety on here, which is a little bit different than the previous version, however, still works very well. You can use it on your left hand to decock the gun, make the gun safe, switch it to your right hand, and run the gun if you need to, or whatever you need to decock the gun for on the left side. Comes with 3 15-round magazines here, and with some nice tan baby poop base plates. I like that a lot. I only found 2 of them. Sorry about that. One of the other ones running around here somewhere. But I promise you it does come with 3. I just have piles and piles of magazines. So here you go. It does have a pretty nice coating on it as well, and we didn't have any issues on insertion or dropping of the magazine, even after 1,000 rounds with no cleaning. Boom, drops just fine. That's one of the reasons why I like metal guns over polymer guns, because polymer magazines, like a Glock magazine, for example, the polymer coated magazine, can get stuck in the magazine well, and then you're doing this dumb shit, and you're looking like John Wick. Overall, the ergonomics of the gun are definitely improved. I prefer the short reset trigger and the Vertec grip, and I really do like that it comes with a mounting or optics mounting system, although I really wish it came with a plate. Now, we'll get into the philosophy of use of the gun. What would you use it for? Well, this is a double single action pistol, which makes it ideal for carry, in my personal opinion. You have a long double action pull on the first trigger pull, and then after that, the slide will cycle, and you can run that short single action trigger. So you have the ability to either go to single action if you like. You can run the hammer if you want to for your first shot to be a precision shot if you have a little time, or you can pull it out in an emergency, pull the double action trigger, and make it work. So either way, it's a little bit safer to carry without having to worry about negligent discharge or something like that, which is why a lot of times when I carry appendix, I do carry double action. I don't usually carry Beretta, I usually carry a CZ model. However, I do like this version as well, and if the CZ didn't exist, this probably would be my second choice. So I like it for carry. I like it for a duty pistol for obvious reasons. I mean, it was the military pistol for many, many years. It's been a police duty pistol for many, many years and still is to this day. Arguably one of the most proven and reliable designs on the market, and my reliability test showed that. We shot this in lots of different temperatures with a little bit varying weather. We had a couple different shooters. Me and the missus both shot this with varying amounts of ammunition as well. Anywhere from remanufactured 115 all the way up to 124 grain hollow points, and then we used some 147 grain Eli. We used some Hornady Critical Defense. We used some MagTech 9mm 115 grain. We used Cellar and Bellet 115 grain, and we used Blazer 115 grain aluminum. And just as anticipated, it shot every round but one without a failure. And that one round that it did fail was when it was suppressed and when my wife was shooting, and that leads me to believe it was a limp wristing issue because, well, I gotta say, she does that every once in a while, but sometimes it's hard because she shoots a lot of different guns with a lot of different grip pressures, so sometimes it can happen, but I'm not gonna blame the gun for it because I had no malfunctions with this with any ammo type, and I feel pretty confident with it overall. Now, accuracy of the gun was fantastic. Again, these are extremely accurate pistols. It's just the way it is. The barrel, I believe, is cold hammer forged, and it is a very high quality barrel. The trigger is a very nice and smooth trigger, especially on single action. Hits at 100 yards were really easy. The sight picture, although a little bit smaller than a normal pistol because the top of the slide is a little bit smaller, it still is a very nice, tight, and crisp sight picture. You can see there's not a lot of air between the front and rear sight. And obviously you're seeing this closer than you would see it when you shoot because the camera's like right there. When you press the gun out, it has even less air between the sights, and I just found accuracy easier with this pistol than I did the previous iterations of the M9 because of the superior trigger. And I'm probably just getting a little bit better at shooting them as well. But I felt that the accuracy was great and the speed was on par with other guns that I really preferred now. One of the things I didn't like about the Beretta M9 series was it seemed a little bit slower to me because of the trigger reset. And now that they've redone the trigger, and the trigger reset is awesome, the gun is very fast, which makes it faster up close, but also makes it faster further away. So just all around an increase in accuracy and speed, which cannot be ignored, and I do really appreciate. Ergonomics, we kind of already went over that, but they are fantastic. Some of the downsides of the pistol are going to be the real estate on the slide is going to be a little bit cluttered. Obviously, we're going to still have that slide-mounted safety, and then you're going to get a little extra weight on this pistol over a polymer frame pistol at about 33 ounces versus the average polymer polymer frame full-size pistol being about 26 to 28. So you're getting a little bit more, but one of the nice things about a little bit more weight is you don't usually notice that carrying, because you're also going to be carrying a full magazine, which does add weight as well. But a little extra weight, especially out front here with this aluminum dust cover, is going to give you a lower recoil impulse than most polymer frame pistols, so that's very nice. Overall, what can I say, man? It's an improved Beretta M9, and you can tell. It's probably my favorite version of the Beretta M9, and I know that the Langdon Tacticals are out there that I haven't tried yet, but as far as stock versions of the M9, I love the aluminum frame, I love the new grips, I love the trigger, I love the way it looks, I love the threaded barrel, I love that it comes with 3 mags, and overall, damn it, is it a sexy looking pistol. 10 out of 10 for me, I gotta tell you. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later. Man, imagine if John McClane had this. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You having some pocket issues?
Channel
with
my inner Paul Harrell.
Is that a suppressor there, or are you just happy to see me?
Both.